To your point, yeah, I think the Palestinians had done a grave mistake for not accepting the settlement that they were given by the UN partition. I mean, they were given 47% of their land. And I mean, let's go back. The Balfour Declaration was 1917. At the time, there was 60,000 Jewish people living in a 700,000 population, which makes them 8%. That number jumped from 8% to 30% after the Second World War and the Holocaust. Now, imagine yourself being a Palestinian, you're having all of these refugees coming to you, and then they're forming gangs and stealing your land and killing you. And then the UN said, like, I know what we can do. I'm going to give the people who just arrived 30 years ago 53 of the land, and I'm going to give the people who are already there, who form 70%, 47%.
But there are also, so I would say to you, there are also hundreds of thousands of Jewish people who were displaced from their homes in Arab countries. So was that wrong?
Well, I advise that you read Avi Shloim, who is a Jewish Iraqi, and he also, I think he's also British. That's not the timeline. The timeline was...
It is true, though.
Yeah, but that's not the timeline. The timeline is important. The timeline was the Zionist gangs, they were killed, they raped, they stole land, and then they basically evicted the people out of their land. And overnight, 750,000 Palestinians was displaced. Overnight. Over the few years, of course, now Israel is now the enemy. And there was a lot of rise of nationalism and yes, in some countries, that happened. But like,
but was that wrong, is my point?
Of course, but like, it is not the whole thing.
So what I'm trying to do, and I'm not trying to trap you or trick you.
No.
I'm just trying to get you to concede that in a period since 1948, there have been things on both sides. I'm not trying to equivocate either. I'm just trying to get you to... I understand completely everything you've said and are going to say about Israel, and you're very implacable about that, and you have every right to be so, I get that. But can you find criticism of your own side in this argument, going back to 48, proper criticism, where things have been done differently, perhaps we wouldn't be where we are?
Okay, so if you are British and you had 1 million Ukrainians arriving to your home, and then over 30 years, that number increased to 30% of the population, and then the UN gave you less than half of your country, wouldn't you fight? Wouldn't you resist?